welcome to The Search with Lisa. If you are returning, thank you so much for everything that you've done with helping, sharing, liking, commenting, and just being here with us and helping the search community grow. Thank you, my search warriors. If you are new to my channel, welcome, and I appreciate you here. I hope after hearing this episode and maybe even going through some of my other stories that you will subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know what you think, something you may would want me to do, something that maybe you haven't heard. That would be awesome. I upload on Thursdays. I always have been doing it at 8. I want to tell everybody that I am considering changing the times on the upload, but I will for sure always keep you notified. That's why make sure you hit that bell. Also, we are starting our second video per week. So that will be a shorter video and will vary from week to week on the topic and what it all pertains. So it will be shorter than the search and it will kind of have a different little name to it, but it's still within our crime. Like I said, every once in a while, I just did a Bath and Body Works video. Every once in a while, I'll throw in something that's nothing related to the crime just to give a nice little uplift. And I think that's okay. So anyway, guys, let's get into it, guys. Today, our crime, I hate to say it, is a teen-on-teen violent crime. It is a newer case, and there are updates on it as of this past week. So that's why we're getting into it. So yes, guys, the person I am talking about today, the victim, is Bobby Maher. He is from Casper, Wyoming. So he is our victim. Unfortunately, he was stabbed to death on April 7th. There was 2 gentlemen involved. Their names were Dominic Harris. Now, he was born in 2008, I believe, coming in at 15 years old. Then there's Jareth Plunkett, was born 2009, and I believe at the time was still 15 years old as well. Our victim, Bobby, 14. Middle school. Middle school. Bobby was in 8th grade. 8th grade, okay? You're wondering what happened. So first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happened and where we are at in the case right now. What I like to do is also speak about our victim because I think that we get kind of desensitized to murders and crimes. So Bobby, like I said, 14 years old. He lived out in Casper, Wyoming. His mother's name is Mary. His father's name is Robert. All right. He also has 3 brothers, Charles, Patrick, and Raiden. Big family. There was 4 boys. Now there's only 3. You ask, what was Bobby like? Well, I went digging in and looking at the information that I could find, and I saw a visual. He had a lot of people that cared about him. Some of the comments that made were, of course, that he was an amazing son, but a brother and a friend. They said that he was someone that would definitely be there for you. He always had a positive outlook on life. He was a great teammate, which I also think speaks volumes. To be able to have that team spirit says a lot of who you are. You know, you want to work together. You want to see the other uplift as well. He loved basketball. That is where his team spirit was at. He loved to do basketball, and I even noticed that during his funeral, they were wearing hoodies. The pallbearers were wearing hoodies with his number on it. I just think that that is so special and a way of the team to also not give closure to their self and carry his name, but to just recognize what he stood for and what he was about in his short 14 years. 14 years, guys, of life. So, allegedly, I'm going to say, what was this all stem from? What could get this 14 and 2 15-year-olds in an altercation that someone would lose their life. Okay, what is so bad, right? Now, I also want to say we are in Casper, Wyoming. This is not a place where, I mean, when I tell you that the statistics are so low on homicides out there, people actually move out that way so that they can get out of these, I guess, inner city issues, or they just kind of want to live that suburban life, the country, the rural life. I know it can happen anywhere, and this case shows it. So even in Casper, Wyoming, I will tell you, this is how supposedly it's not a lot involved, guys. And this is what's sad. This is why we got to get it out there. This teen on teen violence, we got to stop it. It's We're going down to 14 years old. Well, apparently there had been a little, I think a little, like they were probably different sides of the fence as far as who they hung out with. Although they all went, were at the same schools, and they just were in different crowds, which is totally fine. Doesn't make one better than the other, right? So, apparently, April 7th was, of course, on 2024, the date that it happened. Well, about a week before that, Dominique and Jareth were walking out the bathrooms at the same time. They were just walking out, and allegedly Bobby referred to them like, what, like kind of a smart mouth, like, what are y'all, freaks, Yeah, is that petty? Now looking hindsight, and something that would upset two 15-year-old boys? Oh, of course, especially like, why? What are you insinuating? Like, I can see it, okay? So, supposedly that was what got it started. All right, so now there's a little animosity. I think that they were just a little heated of what he was saying. Possibly if he was saying it to anyone else, they just didn't like it. Allegedly, it was quoted that Mr. Plunkett said that he would gut that dude. Okay, so supposedly these type of things were said. Now, do people say things and don't mean them? Yeah, but he did say it. It was heard. So people say a lot of things. I've said things, and I think things are loosely come off our tongue that we need to be more observant of, more conscious of, and take accountability of how we talk and not talk so extreme. Yeah, if you're upset, you say you're upset. You don't say, I'm going to gut somebody. Like, that's extreme. So, is someone calling you a freak an extreme reason to say that? Absolutely, in my opinion. They're rammed up. They're looking for any reason to, like, sock it to them, right? April 7th arises, and Bobby's girlfriend decides that she's going to go over to the mall. And that is the East Ridge Mall. She's over there, and guess who's there? Yeah, Dominique and Jareth are there, and they see her there. So they're kind of like walking around and making it aware that they're there. She already, of course, knows what's going on. So she calls Bobby. She's a little worried. She just feels uncomfortable. These people make her feel uncomfortable. And so Bobby's like, all right, I'm going to come up there basically to just kind of protect her. Like, basically, I'm going to come up there, get you, and we'll leave because allegedly he was possibly just trying to protect her to get out of there. Hindsight, looking back, I'm sure they wish things were done differently, whether she notified police officers, someone within the mall. Now, from what I understand, that there was a lot of closed out stores within the mall also. So this isn't like a really booming mall from what I understand. Also in Casper. So you put that on top of kind of more of a rural area. So I don't believe that this was really a really busy, a lot going on. But of course, people were still there. They go walking. stuff like that. He gets up there and he finds her and he walks out of Dick's Sporting Goods. Dominique and Jareth see him. They go over to them. Now, I want to kind of take you back a little bit. Prior to the 15-year-old boys getting there, they had went and actually had been to Target and allegedly stolen a knife. I feel like that they were already like prepared to do something. I don't know if it was on just in case defense, but we're going to listen and see how it plays out, and that is what the jury is going to decide, if they intended to do what they were going to do or if it worked out like that. But let's start with that. So they find him at Dick's store walking out, and they basically get his attention. At this time, there are other people in the parking lot. There are other kids around there. Bobby tells him, look, I don't want to fight you, man. I don't want to fight you. He's like, got his girlfriend. I don't want all this. With the back and forth, Bobby ends up seeing Jareth has the knife, which his last name is Plunkett. Jareth Plunkett has a knife. So he tells him, hey man, that ain't fair. You got a knife, and basically he's letting him know life ain't fair. That's his attitude towards him. I'm sure there was an exchange of different words, but he acknowledges that he knows he has a knife, and the response is, hey, that's right, I do. So now everybody is aware there is a knife there. Then at that time, after the knife discussion has been said, Bobby's like, no, I don't want to fight, whatever. Well, Harris, Dominique, plunges towards Bobby and knocks him, grabs him, picks him up, and drops him down on his left side, okay, and kind of holds him down. At that time, Jareth comes over and stabs him not once, but twice. There was someone taking a video. So there are things on video, which we will start to unravel, I'm sure, as the case goes on. That is where we are at. They then take off. Bobby tries to stand up. He tries to make it to his feet, and he walks just a little and he collapses. Of course, they're calling 911 and the paramedics, and they're trying to save him. But unfortunately, he lost his life that day. We know as of right now it was because of what? He called two people a freak. That just didn't set well. And then they were up there just kind of like being punks up there at the mall. He goes up there to just kind of protect his girlfriend to get out of there. They come on up and fight him outside of Dick's. And then the altercation happens. He loses his life. I feel absolutely horrible for what this family's going through. And all three families are involved, especially as they're all young teens. Okay, this was not ever supposed to happen, but ever for anybody, but especially at a teen. What went wrong? Why? Why so extreme? We will be finding out those answers. I will definitely be keeping up with this case. So that is where we're at far as what happened to Bobby. I want to let you know that they had a GoFundMe. A lady of the name Ashlyn, and her last name is spelled Benbo. I don't Benbo. I don't want to say bimbo. Benbo possibly is the way that she pronounces it. But anyway, it was on the behalf of the father, Rob, okay, that she did this, and they had set out a goal for $55,000, and as of when I was recording it this week, they were at $54,510 they had raised. So I don't know the exact date that had met, because of course they buried him, I believe, on the 20th of April. Now, the reason that I wanted to now touch base, we are on an update. So here we go, guys. June 21st is the first plea hearing that comes in, and that is from one of them only. They are being represented separately, and that is when Mr. Plunkett comes in. He is coming in and arraigned on the charges of murder in the first degree, conspiracy to commit murder, aggravated assault and battery, and theft. He then pleads not guilty and not guilty by reason of mental illness or deficiency. Okay? So basically, of course, his rights are read. He is asked, does he understand? He's asked what grade, of course, he has completed. Has he been with any doctors, any diagnosis, things of that nature? Plunkett told the judge that he was ninth grade and that he asked if he'd ever been diagnosed with a learning disability, and he replied, I don't believe so. Plunkett told the judge he understood the charges against him, and Cheney entered the double plea on his behalf. Cheney, of course, is representing him. The double plea means with guilty, also with the mental illness or deficiency. Cheney also said that he would seek to get an evaluation on Plunkett and schedule the Wyoming State Hospital. Wilking told Cheney and Natrona County Attorney Dan Itzen that she would direct that evaluation to be done. Basically, you're not going to say I'm mental ill, you got to prove it. That's what that basically is saying. So, that is Plunkett, and he is the one, like I said, that actually did the stab. Alright? Now, next comes, that was, like I said, June 21st. Well, here comes Mr. Harris on the Wednesday, June 26th. He comes in with his plea. He has 3, okay, instead of 4. He has conspiracy to commit murder, aggravated assault and battery, and theft. Okay, so those are his 3. And he is going in with a plea of not guilty. His attorney did say that he possibly would come back with the mental illness plea as well. Okay, so that still can happen. I don't know why he brought that part up. The judge asked, basically the same questions to Harris. It was a different judge, by the way, District Court Judge Carrie M. Johnson, who addresses Harris, reads him his rights, and then, of course, he says he understands. The judge also asked him what grade he had completed. So basically, all the same questions, probably the norm that they do ask them. Also, you got to remember, they are 15 years old. They are being charged as adults as of right now. This is real fine line. There's a lot, and there will be a lot of talk about this as far as them being charged as adults at 15 years old. Especially, I would say, more on Harris, maybe because he is not actually charged with the first degree, the conspiracy to commit first degree. He is only in conspiracy. He did not actually do the stab himself. But that will be to come. Let's just take it one step at a time. So the 21st, like I said, Plunkett goes in with a plea of not guilty with reason of mental illness and deficiency. On the 26th, that is when Harris goes in. He does his plea and he pleads not guilty. But it's said to say that he could come back with also a plea of saying due to mental illness. So, of course, the judge did the appropriate things and got them assigned to the Wyoming State, where they were supposed to go to the hospital to get, checked out, get the testing done. And I think from there is what we'll hear. So that is what we heard as of June 21st and now the 26th. So, separate charges, separate trials, everything's being done separately. As we know right now, charged as an adult, that is where we are at right now. I will keep you posted on where we go further. Guys, I want to know, what do you think? Should they be charged as an adult if they are found that they are competent, which allegedly sounds like they are? Doesn't sound like there's any like insanity plea going to be able to come up or anything like that. Now, I know that there are cases where, and this looks like it falls under it. It's a very fine line of how you can get a charge as an adult. And some of those are very violent crimes, which I think this is it. That you were very willful in the violent crime, okay? And if it's questionable if it's premeditated. So I think that they across the board have checked off these. This was a case that I feel definitely we need to talk about and get some more discussion on it, how the people feel on this. And guys, like I said, 3 families are hurting on this: the parents of the people now that are facing the charges, and of course for Bobby Maher's family. My hearts go out to their brothers and the mom and dad that have lost their son to a heinous crime.
I drove my car like 100 miles an hour to the hospital. Had to wait for him to get to the hospital. And then me and my wife had to sit there with our kids and watch them pump on his chest for 20 minutes, telling us there's nothing else they could do. I broke down. I was inconsolable for a while. Just telling him how much I loved him. I begged him to please come back.
I want to say that I will definitely be keeping up with this. I would love to hear what you're thinking, guys. So this concludes today's search, where we are definitely searching for justice. And at the end of every search, I do a ribbon, and the ribbon represents a prayer for justice. So today, our ribbon is for Bobby Maher. He was 14 years old. He was born August 25th, 2009, and gone way too soon, April 7th, 2024. This concludes the search, and I will see you on the next episode. Good night, everybody.